Hello, dear friends. Here we are, the Medium's Harvest, day 42. And it's about mediumship and imperfection. And what a night. The very night of New Year's Eve of the year 2017. If you're watching this on demand after this very day, Happy New Year to you, no matter how many years apart from this very day. And this is our night. What a beautiful way to begin a year and begin a new year with the awareness of mediumship and imperfection. The Medium's book is the inspiration through which Emmanuel wrote the book Seara dos Médiuns in 1960, The Medium's Harvest, being translated as we speak. And this beautiful book, The Medium's Harvest, teaches us how to feel the scriptures, how to be better mediums, how to be better at mediumistic works, in our life in general, even to understand loved ones who are mediums. So sometimes they are not understood. So this is an opportunity for us. And today on chapter 42, Emmanuel relies upon 3 questions and answers that Kardec asked the spirits at his time through the mediums, and were published on chapter 17 of the Medium's book, item 220, questions 12, 13, and 14. Let's see what the questions and answers were before we read Emmanuel's dissertation. Question 12 of item 220. Kardec asked the following question to the spirits. For what purpose has Providence endowed certain individuals with special mediumistic abilities? Answer. It is a mission they have charged with and about which they should feel fortunate. They are interpreters between spirits and humankind. 13. But there are mediums who only reluctantly employ their faculty. And the Spirit said they are imperfect mediums. They do not realize the value of the grace that has been granted to them. Now, question 14. If it is a mission, why doesn't mediumship present the privilege of moral individuals only, since it is also given to those who merit no consideration and who may even abuse it? Answer of the spirits, precisely because such individuals need it in order to evolve, and so that they may have the possibility of receiving wise teachings. If they do not take advantage of it, they will suffer the consequences. Didn't Jesus himself prefer to speak to sinners, stating that it is necessary to give to those who are in need? All right. So what does Emmanuel tell us? Because here we have beautiful teachings. And, if you're a spiritist, and you do not participate in a mediumistic meeting, maybe it's about time to study spiritism, mediumship, and to participate, because spiritists without the dealing with spirits doesn't exist. We need to learn how to deal with it consciously. That's the future of humanity, to naturally deal with the spirits consciously. And mediumship under the light of spiritism comes for that purpose. Spiritist centers without mediumistic meetings are theoretical spiritist centers, according to Allan Kardec. We really need to walk an extra mile and work on it. So let's see what Emmanuel says to us, inspired by Allan Kardec, on this. That is chapter 42. Mediumship and Imperfection, written on a public meeting on June 10th, 1960, based on questions 12, 13, and 14 of the item 220 of the Medium's book. Emmanuel then wrote, notice how often you need forgiveness and help. You have erred in the workshop where you dignify your own name, but do not hesitate to ask for the opportunities of service and trust. You owe an important amount, and you cannot pay at the right time. However, you do not hesitate to plead the benefit of the moratorium. You suffer from the faults of the child whom life has entrusted to you. However, you hope to regenerate your child in new experiences. You deeply love someone whom vices still haunts. However, you are not afraid to endorse the commitments of adjustment. You will find, however, those who have not suffered enough to excuse the deficiencies of others, habitually perched on the high windows of ivory towers, where they accommodate to count the wounds of those who pass by in the streets of ordeal. They demand that others be complete models of heroism and moral greatness, but they are not willing to lessen the burden of afflictions that they carry. They accuse earth of being a prison of wounds, but they eat the bread initially elaborated in the treated mud that the whole disciplined. They think to find in each brother of the way a potential criminal, yet they do not examine themselves to see to what extent they have been resistant to temptations. If you have an awakened conscience before the needs of your own soul, you will easily understand that mediumship is a labor resource like any other that is destined to edification. For now, in the world, there are no perfect mediums, as there are no perfect human creatures. Each mediumistic instrument, as much as each terrestrial person, carries within certain determined tests and problems. Mediumship is an opportunity for service and improvement, rescue and solution. This is Emmanuel telling us about how mediumship is an opportunity for growth. Many people think that the day they're better, their life is more stable, that the day they are more improved in their feelings, then they're going to dedicate their lives to mediumistic practice. The news is that's never going to happen, because mediumship comes under the light of Spiritism to teach us how to use mediumship to really improve ourselves. When we study mediumship in Spiritism, we learn that we need to watch ourselves constantly and that we make choices. It's easy to be religious when we have nothing else to do. I want to see when we're going to be religious, having wealth and health and beauty and people around us. So when we make choices, I have money, but I prefer to use this money for my needs, but not abuse it. But I'm going to use my time to dedicate my life to others. I have degrees, but I use to the benefit of others. When I have beauty, and I not only use this for the sake of harmony, but I also understand that this is a temporary trial for me. Beauty is also trial in the human incarnation on the earth. And it's easy to be religious when we have no friends around. We want to see when we're surrounded by affinity, whether we're continuously, voluntarily connected to God. It's easy to be religious in a monastery. We want to see religiousness and religiosity in a daily life surrounded by affinity. We really need to make choices. Jesus was not subjecting himself to the whims of his friends and family and putting humanity secondary. As a medium of God, according to Allan Kardec in the book Genesis, as a medium of God, Jesus made choices every day. He said, Mom, my school is here at home, not in the Jewish temple. This is the best school, working with my Father. When he had to leave the home of the family, and contrary to tradition, not necessarily form a family, but go take care of the world, he was making a choice. He didn't leave the home of a family because he didn't have a choice. He made a choice. So we want to see how we're going to walk the talk. And mediumship begins in our lives as an opportunity. I know many people who expect that one day, when everything is in order in our lives, I'm going to go and practice mediumship in the Spiritist Center. It's not going to happen. Because mediumship is here to help us endure the trials in our family members, with our family members. And that's life on the earth. We're going to be surrounded by enemies of the past. That may be in the form of a child, of a spouse, of a neighbor, of a friend. You never know. But if I expect that everything is going to be resolved, so I walk with God in a charitable fashion, it's never going to happen. So, when Kardec asked the spirits, why is mediumship given to people who are not evolved yet? The answer, precisely because such individuals need mediumship in order to evolve. How many spiritist centers I know of, they don't have mediumistic meetings because they're expecting that perfect mediums are going to walk through the doorways of the center and start mediumistic meetings. And years go by, 20-some years go by, and this never happens. And they're missing the boat because they were supposed to surrender to the task of using mediumship to their own collective and personal evolution. We can no longer expect perfection to practice mediumship. Mediumship practice helps us walk towards the inner refinement. So he says here, the Spirit said to the mediums, through the mediums to Kardec, so that they may have the possibility of receiving wise teachings. If they do not take advantage of it, they will suffer the consequences. So, if you and I are supposed to work on our mediumship as supporting mediums, counseling mediums, and I say counseling mediums because we're always inspired by spirits somehow, or speaking mediums, writing mediums, painting mediums, whatever modality, when we're working in a mediumistic practice, conscious about it, we have an opportunity to discipline ourselves, emotions, spirituality, relationships, so we can evolve faster. And the group that is assigned to do it together, if they don't do it, they are going to regret. They are going to regret. And remember the definition. what happens when we don't do the good? Kardec asked, is it any bad when we don't do any bad, but we don't do any good either? And the Spirit replied, and it is written and published in the Spirit's book by Kardec. When I don't choose the good, I'm choosing evil. No wonder Emmanuel begins this message saying, notice how often you need forgiveness and help. I think this message is about pride. When I make a mistake, do I recognize it? Even if the other is stubborn, even if the other has made a mistake, the mistake of others does not exempt us from our self-awareness. So this message today is about ego. And the spirits are so right that the wounds of humanity are still deeply rooted, our weaknesses in pride and selfishness. When we constantly, because of ego, we don't want to work on our progress. It's either I already know it or else. Some people are like this. And that's when they don't give themselves an opportunity to learn. Learning is a process. Like Jean Piaget, he talked about the spiral of the learning process. You go through it gradually, progressively achieving other levels of complexity. And if we don't do this consciously, we are deterring or stagnating the inevitable progress. In the Law of Progress of the Spirit's book by Kardec, Kardec asked, is it possible to regress? And the Spirit said, no, but it's possible to delay. So when I choose not to progress, when I choose not to learn, when I choose not to do something that I am supposed to do, because life is inviting me. If you're a spiritist, and you got to know of mediumship, and you've got to know there are some things related to you, and you are studying, you have been studying spiritism for a long time, and you participate in a group as well, or you're creating a group, and you choose not to develop yourself in a mediumistic practice, you may well be delaying your progress. Bottom line. And this is not radical. It's just the natural logics of the teachings of Spiritism. So we end these sessions that we have been studying in the year 2017 with a very grave call by the high spirits to us, which is in the year 2018, how about committing more seriously to understanding Spiritism through its deep level, not only your self-inner knowledge, but the mediumistic education that involves both study and practice. How about that? It's an opportunity for us to meditate upon it. As Emmanuel says, if you have already awakened as conscience, you will easily understand, he says, you will easily understand that mediumship is a labor resource like any other that is destined to edification. So if I don't see that mediumship is a tool for my progress and for the progress of humanity, it's a sign that I am still dormant in my conscience. Still dormant. There are many people who claim to be spiritual and even spiritists, but they don't easily understand that mediumship is a tool like any other to edify ourselves. Teresa Castro is asking, how do you know when you have learned enough to practice? According to Kardec, as long as you open these books and you're willing to learn, you're ready for it. You're ready to keep learning consciously about mediumship as a study and a practice. We're ready to embark the journey of mediumistic education, Teresa. You know? And of course, it's going to require in the pathway of mediumistic education that I select habits in my life, because then I'm going to learn what we call spiritual laws of the Spiritist practice. We have a whole course that Mentor Joseph put together in the Roadmap program. It's the 4th course, Spiritual Laws of the Spiritist Practice. As we study mediumship, we're going to learn that there are lots of things we need to adjust in ourselves. And if we don't, it's like gravity. I don't care about gravity. I don't like gravity. Okay, I'm going to keep jumping. And you've heard about the man, I think he was in China, and he kept defying gravity. Walking in high skyscrapers throughout the city. And defying. And one day, through one of his stunts, he died. God bless whatever he is. But he was defying a law. And many people are practicing mediumship, caring less about the laws of this mediumistic practice. And they get hurt. And they may hurt people too. Right? That's beautiful, Teresa. That's beautiful. You're working on the roadmap. For those who are watching us or listening to us on demand or at Kardec Radio, if you want to get a hold of the roadmap program, just go to the website of the ssvirginia.org and you see there a tab saying roadmap program. And there we have the first 4 workbooks that can help you and the team. And that's a good pathway to start a new group as well. So Emmanuel continues, for now in the world there are no perfect mediums, as there are no perfect human creatures. And he said this using the hands of Chico Xavier. Can you believe it? Oh yeah, the very mentor of Chico Xavier in 1960, writing through him, as for now on the earth there are no perfect mediums. And Chico read it. And he didn't cry. He didn't complain to Emmanuel. How come? I'm not perfect. I gave up this, that, and that in my life, and you're saying I'm not perfect. He was so humble. And today, talking about humility, our friend Adriano is with us, and we're doing our gospel. He was talking about the resolution. I'm sharing this because he's here with us. I can share the willingness to work on humility. And in the prayer, Mentor Joseph was saying, when we daily contemplate Jesus, by humbling ourselves to his governance, we start practicing more consciously our humility. And humility is not false modesty. Humility is not about who am I, I'm a nobody, I'm a worm. No, humility is about, I need to do more work like Paul of Tarsus. Firm and steady with the heads up, knowing that above my head there is the head of the Christ. And above mine there is the mind of God. And this is humility. The humility that stands tall and firm, knowing that nothing comes from us. Everything comes from above. So for us, as we're gravitating to our spiritist awareness in the year 2018, and to a possible deeper mediumistic experience or mediumistic education in 2018, let us do the following. And I'm going to pick up a pen as an analogy. Mentor Joseph said, if every day during the year 2018 we consider, let's pretend that this is the sun, okay? This is the sun. Okay? The sun is here, and we on the earth, we are daily gravitating around the sun. The mind of the Christ that gives us life. If every day when I wake up, I look at the sun and I say, "Good morning, Jesus. How can I serve you today?" I'll be practicing this humility, and through humility, we'll be able to use our will more wisely, firmly, but wisely. And for those who doubt that the end of a year and beginning of a new year is a real thing, physically it is real, because we are completing a cycle and beginning a new one. And at the beginning of a new cycle, there is new opportunities, new life. When we contemplate nature, we are sure of this. So let us then contemplate the sun of our lives, Jesus, every day, and dedicate our lives to this partnership, this sacred partnership with Jesus, asking ourselves, how can I, as Emmanuel says, use my mediumship as an opportunity to serve, to improve, to rescue, and to bring solutions, right? Rena Smith, hello, is saying, how do you see love and relationship coming for me this year? You know, we don't do readings here, Rena, but you're welcome. We can talk to you personally. If you send us a message to cardiacradio@gmail.com, we'll be happy to have an appointment with you and talk more closely with you about your question, okay? So friends, right now we are here with Lívia Moraes. How are you, Lívia? Lívia, thank you so much for addressing the questions that were asked by Dulce Story yesterday. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa Castro, for being with us. Paula Andrade, Jéssica Tiona, how are you? Lívia Brady, big hug to you, my friend. Nora Brazil, Natalie Lewis, how are you? Rihanna and Nico, big hug to you. Julija, friends from Australia, South Africa, they are ready in the new year. What a joy you're bringing to us already, these waves of the new year. Annie Mercy in Brazil, hey, thank you for bringing to us the new year. Teresa Filizola, Happy New Year to you, Teresa. Luiz Camargo, how are you? Beautiful Karina, thank you for bringing the new year from Brazil to us. Thank you. Nubia, how are you, Nubia? Big hug to you. Lé Severo, my friend, how are you? Maria Aparecida Antunes, good to have you here. Tanya and Greg, big hug to both of you. La Souza, how are you? Ceisa, how are you? Anna from Alabama, how are you, Anna? Good to have you here as well. And you know, friends, as we are marching towards the new year, let us think not about the imperfections. Let us think about what is ahead of us. But don't be anxious, because the future is a consequence of the present. Don't think about, oh my God, what's gonna happen tomorrow with my child, with my husband, with my wife, with the country, with the world. I don't know, but God knows. But God's not worried, because the world's still working perfectly. So what do? Think about now. Be in the present. Be mindful. Jesus taught us. Be mindful, planning what you can plan, but don't stress out with things you cannot plan. You know, I remember Mentor Joseph telling me this. As a mother, you're always concerned about your child, etc., and things that need to be accomplished. And he said once, everything is in God's hands. Do what you can do, but do not stress out with things that you cannot change. That is called resignation, surrender, the divine surrender inside of us. So Emmanuel is not telling us you are imperfect. He's just saying, do not be worried or anxious. Work while you can and serve always. Emmanuel and Mei Mei and many other spirits through Chico Xavier, they repeat the same teaching. Work while you can and serve always, and so always, always and every day. Right? So friends, we are here also studying this mediumship and imperfection. When we come back tomorrow on January 1st, God willing, we're going to be studying about mediumship and mental alienation. Oh yeah, as a teaser, Emmanuel says, manifestation is instrumentality, and mistake is from the creature. Mediumistic faculty cannot be responsible for those who make acts of ignorance and superstition, evil and fanaticism. What is he talking about? You think mediumship is about mental illness? Come back, because Emmanuel is potentially going to demystify it. For now, we wish you not only a Merry Christmas, but a beautiful Happy New Year, Rudy, and to all of you, a Happy New Year, filled with love, filled with renewed hope, filled with good, evolving spirits, right, Souza? And we're going to say a prayer together. But before we say the prayer, I would like to pass the word a little bit to our friend Adriano. He's here with us. He's in this constant working, serving mode. So I'm going to pass the word to him so he can say some good wishes of Happy New Year to you. Adriano, please.
Hello everybody, Happy New Year, and we hope we all go through this year accomplishing a lot more than we have done with Jesus, with the good mentors, and learning mediumship so we can all bond together with the spirits and even accomplish more than we could do alone, so that God may be always with us, so that love may spread everywhere. Have a beautiful and wonderful New Year for everyone. All my wishes for you.
Thank you, Adriano. Thank you, Adriano. Joy to the world. The Lord is come. Yes, and that's the feeling for the new year. So let us say a prayer, and as we say the prayer, we're going to quote a little bit, since we're studying mediumship. There are prayers in the Gospel according to Spiritism, in chapter 28, for mediums as well. And there is a beautiful prayer here for mediums that Kardec publishes as guidance for us. Let us pray this and a little more together in this new year. Shall we, friends, pray together? Yes? Yes. Pretend there is a song on the background, okay? A choir of angelic, because I don't have the song here for you. Forgive me. But a song of angelic forces. Da, na, 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 na. Right? Kardec says in a prayer, Almighty God, allow good spirits to assist us in the communication that we are asking for. Keep us from the presumption of thinking that we are safe from evil spirits, from the pride that may deceive us regarding the worth that we obtain, and all sentiment contrary to charity with respect to other mediums. If I am induced to error, inspire someone in the thought to warn us, and inspire us with the humility to accept and acknowledge criticism, and to take for myself, not for others, the counsels that good spirits wish to dictate to us. If we have been tempted to abuse in any way whatsoever the faculty that it pleased you to have granted us, or to have flattered myself for it, we ask that you take it away, rather than allow it to be diverted from its providential purpose, which is the good of all and our own moral advancement. So let us express our gratitude for this year of community in the year 2017. What a blessing, dear God. You allowing us to have these stable resources. Kardec Radio, Internet, a beautiful teamwork effort throughout the world, giving us an opportunity for growth, for rebalancing our energies, and teaching us to make healthier, wiser choices. We pray for everyone who is connected to each one of us, including ourselves, hoping that in this new year that you're granting us, we take each and every opportunity for growth, for inner refinement, and most of all, to serve you, learning to open our hearts and love all the more. Love mostly those who become our persecutors. Love mostly those who do not understand us yet. May we be more understanding than be understood. May we give more in the year 2018 than we ask for. May the old person inside of us die as a new one gives birth in your name and love in this new year, and so be it. Friends, joy to the world, the Lord is come. He's our Son. A new year's beginning, and we are reverent to the Son. Another year around you, dear Lord. May we love you more this year than the year before, and so be it. Friends, a big hug to you, much gratitude. May this year be all the more special to you and your loved ones, and so be it.